Today, we have a very special and exciting event for you. It's called Gaming Community Management with Chris Miles. And if you don't know Chris, he is a gaming community manager for ControlZee, which is a very fun and interesting gaming company. He's been doing this for quite a few years, and I know many of us are very interested in gaming communities. If we don't game ourselves, and may even be gaming developers, just like Chris is. So I'm going to bring Chris up to the stage. So here, I'd love to give Chris Miles a warm CMX welcome. Come on up to the stage, Chris, and we'll start our chat.
Hello, it's me.
Do you want to
How
tell
are you?
us a little bit about yourself and ControlZee?
So I run the community for our platform Big Bang, which is essentially Roblox meets YouTube, where our entire purpose of being is to make developing games as easily and as accessible as what YouTube did with video making and that kind of stuff. So that's the plan. We're fairly successful so far, but there's still a lot of room to grow as of yet. I don't know. Is that a good intro?
Great intro. Okay, and we'll talk about all sorts of cool stuff in a minute. But one of the things that I've noticed about gaming communities, and I bet everybody else has too, is that they are passionate. Why do you think gaming communities are so passionate?
I love this question, Laurie. I really do, because it's such a rabbit hole. Like, I'm gonna try and cover a few points, but like quickly, because we don't have all day. I could talk all day about this. So I don't know if you know this, but human beings are very competitive. Okay, you've noticed that. So we come up with different strategies to best our opponents in games like League of Legends and Rocket League and that kind of stuff. And that's great. We love ranking ourselves. So that's one aspect. Oh, your camera's gone off. A second aspect is that we like to beat ourselves at games as well. So you take things like Stardew Valley speedruns or Pokemon Nuzlocke runs where like we impose these crazy rules on ourselves. And the fact that gaming demands a lot of creativity for things like skill expression, knowledge. Okay, I'm going to confess something. We can cut this in post, right, Laurie? I read my notes completely wrong. It says gaming demands so much from us: creativity, skill expression, knowledge, execution. Like all of that is part and parcel of gaming, and you've got to develop those skills. And then that doesn't take into account the art that's in the games that we love, the art style, the music, the lighting, gameplay. There's so much that goes into games and like the playing of games, but then there's also the social aspect of it. So I don't know if you know this, I'm kind of socially awkward and always have been.
Oh, not.
So I found that when I was growing up, gaming allowed me to express myself in a way that I had never expressed myself before. And I got a lot of external reinforcement. What's the word I'm looking for? With self-worth and like, hey, you did good, thanks. But from the outside, thank you. I got a lot of external validation from people in the gaming communities because I was knowledgeable and like I could do games good and that sort of thing. So I actually, even a little bit to this day, part of my self-worth is attached to how good I am at games, which might sound weird to a non-gamer, but for a gamer, that's like, yeah, I can relate to that. So, for example, I'm just going to read this now. For example, in February 2009, I was the raid leader for a guild in World of Warcraft. And that was the day we successfully took down the Lich King as a 15-man raid for the first time. After weeks of attempts, And of course, who did the most damage? Me. That was my role, and I did it well. Thank you very much, Imogen. And the thing is, you can, even me describing that story now, you can tell that I'm proud of that accomplishment some 14 years later, because of all the hours that went into gearing up, understanding the boss mechanics, organizing the teams, coordinating teams, managing expectations, communicating, and then finally the actual emotions going through the fights over and over and over again. So that's just like 4 things I could think of off the top of my notes, off the top of my head. So why do I think gaming communities are so passionate? I would say that there's a lot that goes into being a gamer. And the majority of that is how much of ourselves we put into having fun and creating experiences for ourselves and each other. That's my answer.
Fantastic. Okay, let's go back in time a little bit. Let's talk about how Chris got started as a community manager in the gaming space.
I have a question for you. Would you like the full context version, or would you like the within recent years kind of abridged version?
Game set you free. I agree.
Agree.
I think whatever you want to do is fine. I think you're among friends, and everybody's here is pretty passionate. And
Yeah, I can tell in the chat.
yeah.
Okay, in that case, I'll take you right back to when I was 9.
A wee lad of 9.
When I was 9, one of my siblings' exes, now exes, introduced me to a little game called Command and Conquer on the PC. And I started playing that, and I was like, wow, games are really tough and cool and fun. And I was like, really interested in how this screen was showing me these little men that attack each other. And I was fascinated. And then growing up, I was fortunate enough to have an original PlayStation back in the early 2000s. And then that's when I like really got addicted to things like, what's it called? I forget every single time, and it's not in my notes. It's like Bubble Witch Saga, but it was by Taito. It was like Double Bubble or something like that. I was obsessed. And there was like racing games and all these other kind of things that I experienced, and I was like, this is like a really cool industry.
We should have a prize for the person who can figure out that game.
It's got 2 little dinosaurs on it, a green one and a blue one, and it's by the Bandai Namco or something, or Taito. I can't remember. It's one of those.
Whoever figures it out gets a free David Spig's book, The Business of Belonging, by the end of this.
Wait, if I Google it and get the answer right first, does that mean I get that prize?
Yes. Yeah, I will send you one regardless.
So that's like the early adoption of finding games really, really cool. And then obviously, I say obviously, at 15, I got my first PC and started playing World of Warcraft. Being somebody on the autism spectrum, it really, really helped me in terms of the social aspect and like getting used to talking to people and seeing how they react to certain things. And that was really, really helpful. And somehow I managed to convince people to let me lead them in raid battles. Bubble, that's what I thought, Ilya. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by chat. So yeah, it was really helpful in terms of like people managing and like figuring out what people found fun. So like, because I had a large amount of game knowledge and I learned a lot from interacting with people, I managed clans and organized events. And both of those really helped me to discover and develop an understanding of what players find, how players find value in games, and then helped me understand how I could also provide value. So let's take, for example, RuneScape. I played that game to death for like 17 years. I'd set up like these little boss runs, and every time you got a piece of loot, not only did you get free money, but you also got some points. And then after a month, whoever had scored the most points by getting pieces of gear ended up with like a huge stack of cash and like the adoration of everybody. And that was really, really cool. And now we're going to fast forward to 2009. So I am 19. I start with basic game development on something called RPG Maker, which has an inbuilt system to create like generic little games, little examples of, hey, here's a sheep. If I give the sheep some lipstick, now it's a sheep with lipstick on it, you know, kind of going through the logic and understanding of that sort of stuff. Absolutely agree with you there, David. RPG Maker does have some fantastic games. In fact, I got paid once. I got paid $20 to make a map for somebody's game, which is, the map is still in their game to this day. I can't remember what the game's called because it got changed a couple of times. But I was like, yeah, game development. 2014, between 2009 and 2014, I carried on doing game development on RPG Maker until I switched to Construct 2. And so I'd got like a different understanding of how games are made using object-oriented programming as opposed to scripting backend or whatever. And I spent a few years just making some actually fun games. And then I kind of discovered that I liked art through doing that and liked 3D modeling and that sort of stuff. So in September 2019, I bear in mind that through this time I had like a lot of health issues. So like this was keeping me sane and focused. 2019, I started traveling to university and studied computer games modeling and animation. And then we all know what happened a year after that. I ended up having to drop out in the last semester. And then suddenly I had all this free time. I've got a history of, I love playing games, they're cool. I've got a couple of years of me actually learning how to make games and a couple of years of me organizing people. Oh, we'll get to that later, David, don't you worry. And now suddenly I've dropped out of uni with plenty of time and nothing to do. I don't have a job. I'm not a student. I'm like this for a couple of months. And then I'm browsing YouTube, okay? And I see a video from one of my favorite content creators. You might know him, you might not. His name's Sean Day9 Plot. Day9 TV is his online presence. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you the video that I saw, if that's okay.
Yes, we'd love to see it. Oh, Tomb Raider, nice.
No, is that it? I don't know what's happening.
Is it working?
Oh, it's
hang on.
Chrome tabs. It's not showing the media player, which is...
Hang on. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Well, before we recorded, it worked.
It did indeed work.
I'm very sorry.
It's like a minute long.
Darn it.
No, that's this one. And let me close it and reopen it.
Okay, that's always a good choice.
This is very important to me that people see this. This is the joys of live streaming, peeps. There we go. We did it. Yeah, okay. So
well done.
the video. Here's just a little clip from the video that I saw that day.
We can't hear him talking. Does it matter?
Why does it not work? I don't understand. It worked perfectly earlier, and then it just didn't. Oh no.
Because technology.
That's true. Bear with me 1 second. Again.
Park in a car, but imagine that you have to park that car in 3 seconds. You're going to get
Have you got it?
by an electric wall of doom. It's just like that. Go, go. You gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go.
Yes.
You have to go.
We lost sound. Darn it.
So close,
Right.
Please get
In
there.
that case,
just one more set of lines.
There he is.
Please,
you hear it through my
go
mic,
straight
good.
and go fast. Go straight and go fast. And please avoid these mines. Please, we need to get people on the left to straighten this puppy out. Okay, get in there. Get through there. Get through there. Get through there. Turn! Turn! You gotta turn! You gotta go fast! Please! Please! No! No! It's horrible! No! No! You guys! That was awesome. All right, that mine dodge. Now, I have bad news for you. That mine that you elegantly dodged, it's still there because you didn't crack straight into it. All right.
So yeah, I saw that,
No more mines.
and I was like, I have to know more about this. What is this? Like, so I'm just pulling up my notes again. Bear with. So I was sat watching that, and there's 20 people from chat. These aren't people who have like been specially invited or anything. They literally pulled 20 random people from chat, and they put them in the game, just with the link. And then I watched them for 45 minutes try and use 11 buttons to navigate the hovercraft through the obstacle course. And I was like, holy cow, what is this? What is this project? I need to know more. So I hop in the Discord, I start meeting the devs, I'm chatting with the community, and for about 6 months, I'm just messing around with the platform. I'm making voxel objects, I'm learning to program in the engine, and like I said, talking with the devs in the community, and I realized that while the platform's cool, and there's so much that you can do, and the community is great, there's no like marriage between the two. There's nothing, as a community member, there's nothing that I'm looking forward to other than like updates and stuff. So like, let's do something. It's dead easy. I can literally send somebody a link and they can be in a game. That's the one obstacle to getting them involved, just sending them a link. So I put together a live building session called the Live Creation Session. We stream it on Twitch. It's 2 hours from start to finish. And all it is a template with lots of voxel objects that I've put together that go really well. And then they just kit bash. That's all they do. They just make a new level in 2 hours from start to finish. And it goes exceptionally well. And people love it. And they say, oh, when can we do this again? And then I talk with the developers a little more, and they say, hey, that was awesome. If you ever feel like this is a job, because you're here all the time, let us know. 2.5 years later, hello, it's me. So it all like kind of came together.
That's Wonderful. So fantastic. If anybody wants to comment, just, either enter, I want to comment, or type your comment, whatever you'd like. Go ahead, Ilya. Was there a crisis point in your community management career when something drastically changed, for example? When your views drastically changed. Sorry, I have some bot covering it. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can you guys hear Chris?
I'm muted. That's why you can't hear me. So I've been very fortunate in the sense that I haven't had a crisis point so far. Fingers crossed. Though there have been some times where my views drastically changed. I've thought, hey, this is a really cool idea. Let's do it. And I'm like, wait a second, this is a terrible idea because it doesn't provide anybody with any value. It's just a thing. I'm a fairly sporadic's not the word I'm looking for, spontaneous person. And if I get an idea in my head, I'm like, this is a really, really good idea because of X, Y, Z, and it mitigates this problem and provides value in this area, then I want to do it immediately, just to test it, to kind of do it. And sometimes I don't sit back and go, actually, this might happen, or this might happen. And so it can kind of bite me in the butt occasionally, but I'm kind of a little bit better nowadays. I'll go, okay, pros list, pros, cons list, cons, and I'll just default to my manager. I'll just be like, hey, I've had this idea. Here's the pros and cons. What do you think? Because then it's out into the world, and then obviously it'll either get approved or not. Usually it does. I don't know if that helped earlier. But yeah, in summary, thankfully, I haven't had a point, because I'm still fairly new to this. I haven't had a point where I've gone, actually, this is bad. I need to deal with this.
Corey has a question. Can you see it there?
How do you find console wars impact the gaming communities? Do you get much pushback with things like that? Starfield and Twitter X is a great example of console wars ramping up. So I'm going to shill slightly. Big Bang will run on any device with a console, with a browser. Full stop. So rather than Big Bang being impacted by the console wars, we can add to that. So we don't really feel the effects of the console wars. As a PC master race gamer, sorry, that was satire. As a PC gamer, I never really feel the effects of console wars either. So perhaps I'm not the best person to ask that question to. Do you get much pushback with things like that? Not particularly, no. Interesting, Ilya. Ilya mentions the crucial point for me when working as a gaming community manager was understanding that games are not only about having fun and playing, but also about making people pay for the game. Big Bang is free to play, it's free to make, and it's free to share. We have recently introduced a shop that only deals in custom avatar So you walk around as a T-Rex or whatever, for example. Dealing with that on a personal level, I knew that going in that we were doing cosmetics. That's perfectly fine for me. As long as we don't end up with a culture that's like Fortnite, where calling somebody a default because they have the basic skin kind of thing. I think that's where it's going to be an issue. But I suppose I will have to deal with that if it comes.
Cool. So I'm curious, how many people are in your community?
So in our Discord, we have 12,500 members. They range from like players, creators, just curious people. And in terms of the actual platform, I can't tell you that as it's privileged information, but our Discord community is a fraction of our user base, a small fraction of our user base.
Wow. So I gotta ask, how do you manage such a large number of community managers?
Some days I ask that question to myself. I'm like, wait, how? What? So I run a lot of experiments all the time because I'm a community management team of one. I get to just go, okay, what if I do this? What if I do this? How do I engage people? How does the messaging for this experiment work? So, for example, our weekly events, I used to be like, my opening line was, "Hey peeps," and then tag whichever role. But then I figured, wait, 37% of our Discord users are on mobile. So then I started tagging. I started doing the same thing, but having a line underneath, a line above that says like new weekly challenge with some emojis, so that way people who got push notifications on their mobile, that's the first thing they'd see, rather than "Hey peeps" waving hand. So just like little experiments like that. Obviously track them, see how many people respond.
Great. So I want to ask an engagement question.
Okay.
That's a thorny issue for anybody. How do you create opportunities for players to engage with each other and deepen their relationship with with Dot Big Bang and ControlZee and each other?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we all essentially want to be valued and recognized, right? Just as human beings. So by having a whole bunch of players and recognizing them in as many ways as possible, that's how you create engagement. I think we have a weekly play session, and it's framed as a dev versus community smackdown for the crown type thing that gets people in. And then what we find is that the idea of playing with the developer or playing against them, it attracts a lot of people, and it's weird. There's a lot that goes into it. It's like, I'm against a developer, I'm going to beat them up. And then that's a story that I can tell later down the line. Oh, it's funny that you think you're good at this game. I remember in week X in Dev versus Community where I beat you up. And then that's like a fun talking point. But it's also an opportunity to bring players together, playing with and against, playing alongside each other. And we also have like a Discord channel dedicated to people that come through in collaborations. So we've done 7 collaborations with Preston Plays, and we just have a channel where everybody who comes in through there, they just talk about the games. So it's like giving them spaces to talk to each other and to kind of group like-minded people, I suppose. And one last point. Some days, because I can literally send you a link and you're in the game with me, some days I'll just be in Discord, just be like, hey, I'm going to chill in Pocket Garden and do some farming for half an hour if anyone wants to come join me. Some people do, and some people don't. So it's just kind of I suppose, just facilitating whatever people do as players and just being a part of that.
Corey's question is pretty cool. Can you see it? About
what do you
yeah.
Is this right? What do you think gaming communities are looking for? Is it Discord chats with like-minded people to find their next favorite streamer, or a mixture of everything? I know Crystal Dynamics and Insomniac Games have a good mixture of everything with their community and community managers. I'm coming from a place of being a player and a user. And that's how I'm in my community manager role. So coming from that, I know what people want and I try and deliver it to people. So those things are feeling valued, adding value to their lives, be it through fun experiences that they can share together with the community or with developers. Just providing a really fun time, because at the end of the day, like, we've only got so much amount of time. And also there was a third thing. Fun, value, acknowledgement. Oh yeah. Whether that's like so we have a player role, a tiered player role in our Discord, where if you perform certain tasks, you will get that role, and then you can lord that over everyone else and say, haha, I'm better than you. That's, some people are like that, most people aren't. So things like take a photo with your friends while wearing hats, while wearing like 5 or 6 hats, or if that's like beat the devs in one of our play sessions. So but I would say just my approach to this whole thing is just to integrate. I am wearing both a player hat and a developer hat. I just kind of mixing the two together every now and again. I don't know if that's an appropriate answer, but that's what I got, Corey.
That's pretty cool. Yay, very insightful. I guess, yes, I would like to ask, so as for those folks who are tuning in and who may not be, might be interested in playing games, but really don't know where to start, what would you recommend? Like, which games would you recommend that they check out to kind of get their feet wet?
I think the most important thing for me when you're trying anything new is to do it with a friend. I strongly recommend doing it with a friend, because I don't know your tastes. I don't know anybody who's listening. I don't know your tastes. I could guess. I could say, oh, hey, I like Pokemon because it cures that itch to like hoard things and like find shiny things, and go, hey, that's mine, that is, without having to use physical space. And there's X cool mechanic and Y cool mechanic, but I don't think that really helps. I would get a friend, someone you like a lot of things with, and just try different games. And if you're that friend, then just let them play. If they have any questions, answer only those questions, because a lot of the time you can bog them down with information they don't really need right now, and it kind of takes away from them playing. I would say that choosing which games to play is like clothes shopping. You have to bear with me with this analogy, because you walk into a store and there's so much stuff for you to try on, and some things you might dislike the look of, but if you tried them on, they might feel great, and the opposite can be true. So something looks amazing, but you're like, not really liking the straps. It doesn't quite feel right for me. So yeah, I'd say just just try lots of different things, and do it with friends, because the majority of gaming is like social aspect as well of it as well. Educational materials on gaming community managers, some courses, videos, articles, and so on. Do you know what, Ilya? I have most of the things that I've learned, I've discovered through trial and error. If you know of any courses, videos, articles, and so on to help educate community gaming managers, please DM me. I would love to give them a read. Although, let me find this. There is one useful resource that I have found, and that comes in the form of Victoria Tran's newsletter, which I am about to post in chat. He says tentatively, looking from the link. I can't seem to find it.
We can post it on one of our LinkedIn pages too if you can't find it at a later date.
Okay. Oh, I found it. It's simply titled victoriatran.com. Okay.
Well, I'll pick that out. Thank you for that. Okay, I have a fun question. Do you have a gamer version of Desert Island Discs? So, oh my goodness, David, thank you. So the Desert Island Disc is if I'm stranded on a desert island and I have to take these essential music CD, whatever, Spotify, what do I take? So what's your gaming version of that?
Okay, love this question. It's difficult to answer, but thankfully, I've already thought about it for an hour and written an answer. How many discs am I allowed is the question. Because I think typically it's 5, right?
I think you should name as many as you want.
Okay.
5's unfair.
So I'd need a game for a lot of different moods, to be honest. So if I want to feel challenged, I'll play Slay the Spire, which is a really difficult card game, but it's presented really, really nicely. I love Slay the Spire. It's great. If I want to relax, I'll play either Stardew Valley or I'll play Terraria. So Stardew Valley is like a really relaxing farming game where you want to make money and be people's friends. They're great. David, why you do this to me? Wait. Stardew Valley's for the relaxing game. Terraria, RimWorld, and Factorio. If I want to feel like just general play session-y, like Terraria's buildy and hit things. Same with RimWorld, and Factorio is like engineering, and they're really, really fun. And I'm glad David mentioned Minecraft because I play a lot of Minecraft. Only modded Minecraft vanilla. I've played all of that to death. And in fact, I'm currently making my own mod pack with quests and stuff, so that's fun. And then if I wake up one day and say, Slay the Spire isn't challenging enough, what do I want to play? I will just default to Darkest Dungeon because that doesn't care about how much time and effort you've put in. It will destroy you if it wants to. I love that. So that's my list. We've got Slay the Spire, Terraria, RimWorld, Factorio, Minecraft, and Darkest Dungeon. That's 6.
Excellent. Some folks listed, David listed a couple, something called Amazing Cultivation Simulator, and there's a podcast. So we've got some really good resources for folks who want to learn more.
Thank you very much for sharing. That's cool.
So, it's a game. Yes, I figured. Do folks have any other questions for Chris that they'd like to ask? Oh, there's one from Corey.
I read that as David Gamers. As avid gamers, I'd be interested to find out your thoughts on brands not known for gaming trying to get in on the action, i.e. KFC gaming. Gaming is an amazing space where anything is acceptable. We have shovelware down the bottom end of just random crap that works but extends people's licenses on intellectual property. And then we have like very impressive indie games and AAA games on the other spectrum. Where do I think KFC gaming lies on there? I have no idea. It depends on the quality. If they provide customers with a great experience and provide people value, I'm all up for it. News just in, Corey works on KFC gaming. No, I'm kidding. It was secretly a trap. No, I think I have an opinion on brands making games for the sake of making games, but for brands that genuinely want to make good games, I'm all for it. Anybody that wants to take the time to make great games, I'm here for it.
Cool. Oh, David has a question.
How do you react and promote emergent gameplay in your community? Say something came up with X clan guilds and a new way to play the game, such as a marketplace or trading guild. Do you support it on your community? Okay. I want to surmise that this question is about MTX, but I'm not entirely sure. X clan guilds. Marketplaces and trading guilds don't exist, not currently. We have buyable skins is the first step to allowing our creators to make things that people can pay for, such as scripts and assets and level designs and that sort of stuff. Is any type of emergent gameplay? I see. Emergent gameplay, I'm not entirely sure what this means. My assumption is things that were people play a certain way and that wasn't how it was designed to be played. Okay. Oh, thank goodness for that. I thought I'd look like an idiot then. Do you know what? I love it. I absolutely love emergent gameplay on our platform. It's so funny. The other day, I was in one of our nice, relaxing games, and you can build. So I moved one of the things I'd got on my plot in Pocket Garden, and I was sat on it. But it was a chair, and I was in building mode. So I clicked on the chair to sit on it, but I also was moving it around. So I'm like, just speeding around my farm. That was a lot of fun. I'm like, okay, I need to report this. This is a bug. But for the time when I found it, it was amazing. And I was talking to a few community members about it, and they were just laughing. It's a bug, but it was really, really fun discovery. How in Minecraft there's no real trading, but some people build shops. Okay, I see. We're leaning into that. Ashley is currently working on something that's basically a place to role play. There's things like taps that you can turn on and vegetables you can chop on a board. They don't have like any inherent gameplay value. but we are leaning in that space, because I think there are a lot of people that like to role play, and I think when I play Minecraft, in fact, last week somebody on my Minecraft server said, "Hey, I want to be able to buy X," and I just made a shop, and then he came over. He was like, "Excuse me, sir, I would like to buy this, please." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, but we're fresh out. Instead, have this thing," and it was the same thing. And so, yeah, there's a lot of value in that, and we're leaning into it. What was the question?
I start. If nobody else does, what do you think? What does everybody think? And you, beginning with you, Chris, what's the future of gaming look like?
That's a very good question. Like with a lot of things, AI will be involved in some capacity. In a lot of capacity, yeah, I suppose that's right, David. From things like NPCs walking around to optimization to monetization, there are going to be a lot of avenues, but I think oh my god, there are so many parts to this question. Why would you do this to me, Laurie?
Because you can answer it. That's why.
The economy of gaming is a very fascinating subject. Artificial intelligence in gaming is a very fascinating subject. I think gameplay will continue to evolve. People will continue to innovate. Even if it's 1% better than Dark Souls, it's still an improvement. People are going to love it. I think there are a lot of new niches that are being folded into the mainstream that gets me genuinely excited. I think there are a lot of cool players in the games. Community speedrunning communities that pop up, absolutely love those. They'll continue to flourish. I think the education of games is greatly improving, and there is the universal language of knowing that WASD, computer literacy, gaming literacy is becoming way easier and way easier. Tutorials are getting better. Like, as long as I have a strong opinion on this. As long as NFTs in their current form stay out of gaming, gaming is just going to improve on the whole. That's my opinion. Oh, Laurie, are you there?
Sorry, I was reading the AI mod for the Matrix Unreal Engine 5 showcase that came out last year.
Yeah, that was insane, Corey. They basically simulated an entire city from real life, and it ran in Unreal 5.
Wow.
It was mad. Exciting. Mad exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. So does anybody have any more questions? We've got a few minutes left that you'd like to ask Chris, or if you
Sorry, Corey got me with that pun. That's amazing. Do you know what? I'm going to shill because I genuinely have a passion for this. I'm going to send a link in chat, whether you're on mobile, whether you're on desktop, whether you're on your Xbox or smart fridge. I'll post a link in chat.
No, really? Smart fridge?
Yeah, you can play on any device that's Chromium based, that's got a Chromium browser. Do I use AI for my work? No, not currently. I'm a programmer, but I'm not that good at programming. I would love to have some AI. I think the important kind of AI that I would like is the moderation tools. I'm sick and tired of trying to figure out how to moderate people in a way that's fair for them and So the word drip or drippy in American, it means like cool or like really nice looking. But in England, it's an insult. It means somebody who's of a low mental stature. A lot of people, it's an alternative for the R word. So if we can find a way to use AI to fix that, brilliant. I know there are a couple of solutions. Um, I'd love, I'd love something like that. That would make my life a lot easier.
Cool. I have a request. If does anybody else have any other questions before I make a request of Chris? Chris,
Hello.
can you set up a play session for everyone here who wants to play
Yeah,
in the future? Can we all play together?
yeah, that'd be great.
It would be really. I mean, we could play Pocket Garden,
That's
or whatever. What?
That's Pocket Garden's so relaxing. I spent so much
Yeah.
time just like I'm gonna make some corn.
Yeah. If anybody would like to do that, I wanted to ask Chris if he would set something like that up, and
Yeah.
we could all play together. And oh, Ilya, yes. Where can we find
Great
a record for
question.
this video? Great question. So I have a CMX. I have my own Slack channel. Slack. God, it's been a day. I have my own YouTube channel, and let me just hang on a second. I'm gonna turn on mute, and I will post a link. It usually takes about 3 or so weeks, but let me post the link to my YouTube channel. Hang on a second.
While Laurie's looking at the link, what I could do is so I'm introducing Big Bang to Code Academy at the end of September. When I come back from my holidays, what I could do is post a link out to peeps if they will, because it's like an intro. We'll be playing and we'll be making just all together people who attend the event. It might be worth grabbing everybody who's interested from here and sending them invites to that. If you would like that, just give me a shout on Slack or in here, and I'll set that up. How do you handle toxicity in the community? So I love that question. David. Toxicity is not allowed. It's as simple as that. Like, toxicity isn't the kind of behavior we'd want on our platform. So myself and the communications manager, John, wrote community guidelines, and we stay firm with those. We'll warn like, hey, I understand you're frustrated, but being rude, there's no reason to be rude to people. Sorry, there's a little guest just waved at me. Yeah, there's no need to be rude. And then if I keep track of potentially problematic users with a watch list. And then I sort of cross-reference every time somebody is being a bit edgelordy. I'm like, right, I'll put you on the list. You get 2 more of those before I'm going to have to tell you off properly. And if you carry on, I'm just going to straight ban you. That's it. There's obviously we've got an appeal process as well if somebody's banned and they don't think they need to be banned or whatever. We have a 3-strike rule. If you're toxic, we'll warn you. If you're toxic again, we'll warn you. But at the same time, that's like the extreme case, because we want to. The internet is such a big place. There's so many places where you can just. I don't know if I can say that. Where you can, you're allowed to be a dick. You can bleep that in post if you want. There's so many places where you're just allowed to run rampant. But it's very important for us that we're not a place for that. Somebody in our Discord was role-playing. And and we found that they pretended to be a cat a lot and attacked people's ankles, and it actually pushed some community members away. So we had to say, look, there are plenty of places on the internet where role playing's allowed. Please, let's just all be human beings and chat and have fun together. And that's kind of the way we dealt with that. And they complied, and they're still a really good part of our community. Oh, David. I'm going to take 10 points away from Slytherin for that comment.
Oh my goodness. Well, sadly, we are out of time.
Is that it? Are we done?
Told you.
All that worrying for nothing.
Told you. I really appreciate everybody coming. And if you scroll up a little bit in the chat, you'll see my LinkedIn and Chris's LinkedIn if you want to get in touch with us. Oh, well, there's one more question. Thank you, Corey. We'll just do this one question. Can you see it when there's a conflict?
I can. I'm going to read it, and hopefully that will buy enough time for me to come up with an answer. When there's a conflict between your company and your community, which side do you choose? For example, an update that the community doesn't like. Okay, I tend to be up in everybody's business in the company. I like to know what's going on. I like to have a handle on upcoming things and kind of go, this is great. Have we thought about this? And kind of try and nudge, because I come at everything from a community standpoint, as somebody who used the product and liked the product and got involved with the community. That's the side that I generally take, because if I don't advocate for the community, there's literally nobody else that will. So we recently had a 3D tools engineer join us, and I said, hey, welcome. You have a lot of work to do. When you're ready, I have a list for you. Because just years of not having certain tools and it being a worse experience, I've kind of like gone, okay, let's write it all down. And then when somebody's available, I can be like, we need this now. I love that question, Ilya. I'm glad my boss isn't here. Otherwise he'd be like,
That's great. Well, sadly, we do have to go. But when Chris comes back from his holiday, I think we'll have, I know it's well-deserved. We'll have a live session and we'll all play together and chat together too. So thanks everyone for your time, and we'll all be in touch. Thanks so much for attending, and this was great fun, and we'll see you all at the next event.
Bye, Rod.
I'm so glad you guys all attended and were here with us.